know what hovers over this house, but it was strong enough to punch a hole into this world, take your dog away from you.
In 1982 saw the release of Poltergeist, directed by Tobe Hooper, who was well known for his horror debut The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Steven Spielberg co-wrote and produced the film. The movie itself has been debated over the years on who actually had full control of the feature, because after viewing it, many people thought it felt more like a Spielberg movie than a Tobe Hooper one. 1982 was a great year for cinema, with many now classic movies being released. Titles such as Rocky III, Star Trek II, 48 Hours, Rambo First Blood, Conan the Barbarian, Dark Crystal, Annie, The Thing, Blade Runner, and of course, Spielberg's monster hit, E.T. Many films failed to gain much of the public's attention that year because E.T. was getting so many people returning show after show. Not saying many were flops, because a lot of movies did break the $50 to $100 million mark. Even Poltergeist itself made nearly $100 million. The film was given a PG rating at the time. No PG-13 rating existing, this was pretty terrifying for most children, and it was not recommended for anyone under the age of 10. While Spielberg was preparing E.T., he was producing Poltergeist at the same time. Supposedly this was a clause in his contract with Universal, which prevented him from directing another feature while he prepared E.T., so he handed the role over to Tobe Hooper. I can imagine Spielberg was impressed with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and offered him the job. The story is set in the California suburbs, where a new housing lot has been built. The family begin to experience strange activity one evening, noticing their child Carol Ann is talking to the TV. As the story unfolds, the girl communicates again and the spirits escape from their dimension into ours. Once they escape, the paranormal activity begins to strengthen, tables and chairs moving around and the weather becoming more violent. The spirits want to steal Carol Ann, and they create a diversion. The little boy, Robbie, hates the tree in the garden. As you can see, it's very creepy and I would certainly chop it down if it was in my garden. The father explains that he chose this plot of land near the tree because the tree was very old and would protect them. During one stormy night, the tree comes alive and tries to eat Robbie. As the parents try to rescue him, the closet in the kid's bedroom opens and the doorway to the spirit world is revealed, and she is sucked into their world. After saving their son, they fail to locate their daughter. Their son can hear his sister calling from the TV set. The family invites some investigators round to try and locate Carol Ann. The family no longer go into their child's bedroom in fear of being hurt by the ghosts. During the course of the first night, while the investigators are there from the local university, they try to communicate with Carol Ann via the TV set, which seems to be the only way to contact her. At this stage, there has been no real strong threat at this point, and you only think these ghosts are upset about being dead, but you get an idea that there is one evil spirit there who gets very upset quickly once they've communicated with Carol Ann. With the investigators being too inexperienced to deal with this problem, they bring in a psychic who can read minds and talk to the dead. She assures them that their daughter is alive, which lightens the mood, but then she tells them there is someone holding her daughter back and lying to her. She refers to him as the Beast.
Carol Ann must help them cross over, and she will only hear her mother's voice. No. Hold on to yourselves. There's one more thing. A terrible presence is in there with her. So much rage, so much betrayal. I've never sensed anything like it. I don't know what hovers over this house, but it was strong enough to punch a hole into this world, take your dog away from you. It keeps Carol Ann very close to it and away from the spectral light. It lies to her. It says things only a child can understand. It has been using her to restrain the others. To her, it simply is another child. To us, it is the beast.
The special effects in the film are truly spectacular. Considering the film is now 30 years old, the optical work holds up very well, and shots of the beast really do shock at the end. It has a great mix of everything. ILM really shows off their talents. It shows some effects which are essentially the building blocks of what is used to great effect in Ghostbusters. The soundtrack by Jerry Goldsmith is very well composed and creates a very creepy atmosphere that complements the film perfectly. He wrote several themes for the score, including the lullaby Carol Ann's theme to represent blissful suburban life. There are moments of sudden heavy bombastic percussion to add an extra level of horror to the visuals. The score went on to be nominated for an Academy Award for Best Original Score, though Jerry Goldsmith lost to fellow composer John Williams for E.T. There is supposedly a curse on the Poltergeist series that has been whipped up by the media and discussed over the years. It's all derived from the fact that 4 cast members died in the 6 years between the releases of the first and third films. The rumour is often fueled by the fact that real skeletons were used as props in various scenes of Poltergeist and Poltergeist 2. The rumour and the surrounding deaths were explored in a 2002 episode of E! True Hollywood Story entitled Curse of Poltergeist. The eldest daughter, Dana, in the first movie died on November 4th, 1982 at the age of 22 after being strangled by her abusive former boyfriend. Julian Beck, 60-year-old actor who played Henry Kane in Poltergeist 2, was diagnosed with stomach cancer before he accepted the role. Will Sampson, 53-year-old who played Taylor, the medicine man in Poltergeist 2, died as a result of post-operative kidney failure. Heather O'Rourke, who played Carol Ann in all 3 Poltergeist movies, died on February 1st, 1988 at the age of 12, after what doctors initially described as an acute form of influenza, but later changed to septic shock after bacterial toxins invaded her bloodstream. At the time, she had suffered acute bowel obstruction, initially diagnosed as Crohn's disease, which may have been the cause of her death. Reviews at the time were very positive, but Siskel and Ebert shared different views on the film, and Gene Siskel didn't find it scary at all.
What they did, but they shouldn't have. The whole movie is just that silly, and we never do find out if a real poltergeist was involved in the strange events in that haunted house, but Poltergeist is a good summer thriller with good special effects. It's not a great movie. I'd give it kind of a moderate recommendation.
Our first disagreement. I feel so bad about this picture that I think that I'm starting to like Rocky III a little bit more.
Really?
I felt that this film wasn't scary except for one door closing and the little childhood fears of being in the dark at night, and that's at the very beginning. All this mumbo-jumbo about spectral light, afterlife. I felt that I was not too far from that garbage movie we once made a Dog of the Week, Beyond and Back.
Beyond and Back.
I thought that this, Roger, you just tried to give an explanation, you know, with something in the closet. I never understood it. I haven't talked to a single person that could tell me what is going on in this
I'll meet you after the show. All I have to say is I think the movie works as entertainment. It's not great. It's okay. I'll tell you one thing, though, that I would like to make, and this is probably an important point. This movie is about a little girl who finds out that the toys in her bedroom are going to try to strangle her, that people are in her bedroom closet and going to pull her out of bed and take her away from Mommy and Daddy. This is a PG-rated film. I think for young kids it's too strong. If I had seen this movie when I was 7, I would have been afraid to go to bed until I was 12.
I think it's probably too strong for young people, but I don't think that they should even bother with it. I think there's a better film, much better films around this summer. I think that this
Including the next film we're
well,
going to
I think this is, I really think that this is, and I think when you say it's good special effects, I'm going to accuse you of something, which is being intimidated by special effects. Anybody can do that, and this doesn't have a convincing story at all.
Just because anyone can do it doesn't mean they aren't done well.
Now, I've been viewing some paranormal videos on YouTube, and there is a user by the name of Mellowbird. Instead of the I in bird, he uses a 1. He has some shots of footage of a poltergeist in his house, and most of the activity takes place in his kitchen. I am a skeptic like most people, but this is probably the most genuine footage I've ever seen. He even messes around with a Ouija board to contact the spirit at one point. So I'll leave it for you viewers to decide if it's real or not.
Hi guys, happy Halloween. We're gonna try this again. Didn't work out too well last time. I'm a bit like this though. If you didn't see what happened last time, I'll annotatify it up there somewhere. 1, 2, 3. I didn't swear. I don't know. I'm tempted to run out the garden. I really can't do anything with that anyway. The noise is going on. Alright, that's pretty much garden time. The power of Christ compels ye. I feel like a fool. There we go. Yeah, that's kind of... I'm using my Ouija board to protect myself. The power of Christ compels ye. That's terrible. Garden time.
A lot of horror films today don't have that scare factor anymore. There are some exceptions that stand out, such as Paranormal Activity, which really creeped me out, which I'm a little embarrassed to say because I couldn't sleep properly for a couple of nights. I think mostly down to how the film would unexpectedly scare you and the use of sound to really put you on edge. It's a style of direction which leaves a lot of the horror to your imagination instead of showing it to you. There was a huge influx of films that revolved around gore and torture, such as the Saw films, Hostel and The Human Centipede as well. I didn't consider these horror. They were more of a glorification of torture, which didn't scare me but just made me feel sick. It's basically torture porn. I don't consider these horror movies in a classical sense. Some people find Poltergeist now to be not very scary, probably mostly down to being desensitized by more recent horror. I think it still works on many levels. The sound mixed with the help of Jerry Goldsmith's score really create a solid atmosphere to the movie. The performances are very good and seem very genuine. The mother especially is fantastic, is a kind of hero of the film and never gives up finding Carol Ann. Debate about who actually directed the film was constantly under discussion. With Spielberg co-writing and producing, he has a lot of control and say over the picture. But if you look at Tobe Hooper's film Life Force, you can clearly see he can handle big budget anamorphic features with drama and spectacle. I do believe the movie is a 50-50 collaborative effort. There are a number of unexplained plot points like the tornado sequence which sucks up the evil tree, but does little damage to the family and the houses around them. Also, it has one of the worst jump cuts I've ever seen. I checked my Laserdisc and the Blu-ray copy and both exhibit the same cut. It feels like you're missing a large chunk of dialogue. Watch this clip and I have not made any adjustments.
Mommy, that burns.
Oh, sweetie, I'm sorry. The floor needs more wax. Stephen, come on, you do it.
Oh.
Oh, come on, honey, try. It's like it's like there's this tickling, you know, right in here, and it starts to pull you. The tickling pulls you. And all of a sudden, it's like there's no air except that you can breathe. And you're getting pulled along. And maybe
Hi, Ben.
Oh, Mr. Taylor. Hi.
Look, my TV's not on, so
Oh, no.
you're having problems.
No,
setting
Ben,
it.
it's nothing like that.
Poltergeist makes most top 100 lists of scariest movies, and it still scares the faint-hearted and does its job. Just ignore the dreadful sequels and watch this movie with the lights off and the volume up high, and I'm sure it will give you the chills.